Think about all the boring people that you've met in your life, the most boring of them all. All the boring people you've met in your entire life. Now put them all together and put them in one cocktail shaker. Shake it well, and now put it in a nice cocktail glass. Cheers, German on the rocks. Welcome to the unfunniest session on humor in the history of humorous sessions, because I'm German and Germans are famous for BMW, pretzel, and beer, but not for humor. But my friends, I also have 15 years of experience in public speaking and more than a decade as a professional speaker. And I learned a lot about humor, especially about humorous patterns. And patterns you can replicate. Welcome to a Q&A session, number 16 already on humor. Welcome, Maura. Good afternoon, everyone. Nadine, Juan Carlos, Alba. Man, you are now the cuadrilla. They say in Spanish, the gang. Always here. Very cool. Now, humor. What makes us laugh? Tell me in the chat. Ask questions about humor. When do people laugh? Humor is all about patterns. All about patterns. What I've just done in the intro and put them all in a cocktail, and this is German on the rocks. This is one of the patterns. Which patterns is it? I think there's always a delay in the chat. So whenever I ask a question, the answer comes like 1 minute later. Woohoo! Okay, that is self-deprecating humor. The first pattern I want to discuss with you today here, self-deprecating humor. Poke fun at yourself. What is the benefit of self-deprecating humor? Do you know that? Why is it good to make fun about yourself, your culture, your cliches, your German, your squared-headedness? Why is it good to make fun of yourself, poke fun at yourself, self-deprecating humor? It's an amazing humorous pattern. I give everything symbols in my life, so I use this symbol here. It doesn't hurt anyone else. Exactly. More effect. There's a very nice effect with self-deprecating humor. This is my symbol for self-deprecating humor. Make fun of yourself. Irish, Mora from Cork. From Cork. I mean, if you are from a city that has the same name like a wine cork, that must be weird people. If I say it, it's an insult. If you say it, it's self-deprecating humor. It humanizes you. Hey, here's IDEP Barcelona. Hey, Job, today you're with the official account. IDEP is the Instituto de Diseño Escola, something. It humanizes you, makes you relatable. Yes. It shows you vulnerability. Yes. And as a result, when you poke fun at yourself, you're always considered more likable. It's more human, it's likable. It's the opposite of arrogance. Betty, shut up. That's Betty, the Labrador. She's barking. Betty, why do you bark now? This is about humor. You are a Labrador. You cannot make me laugh. You can make me pick up your shit. It makes you definitely the opposite of arrogance. An arrogant person, in that dictionary, there is no page saying make fun of yourself. Back to my personal account. Job, here we go. Self-deprecating humor. Okay, here's an exercise for all of you in the chat. Today we do an exercise because in my trainings, I always say, what is a great way to collect ideas for self-deprecating humor? Now, what I want you to do is to take a sheet of paper, or you can write it in the chat in one word. Oh, there she is. This is live. Hi, Betty. Betty's back. Betty's the Labrador. Betty, come here. I'm gonna show you. Betty, come here. Come here. I'm gonna show you, Betty. Come here. Up. Look. Say hi to the group. Betty, look. That's the group there. There. Yeah. Very good. So Betty, now go here and sleep. Very good. I want you. That's some exercise I do in my trainings. I tell them to do that. You can do it here in the chat. I want you to think about now. Think carefully about all the potential weaknesses that you have, all the potential weaknesses that you have. I'm not saying they are weaknesses. I'm saying they are potential weaknesses. And write down one of those. I want to write it down in the chat here. One potential weakness that you may have from the point of view of others. One potential weakness of yours from the point of other people. I'm not saying it's a weakness. It could be a weakness from their point of view. Write down one word in the chat and I will play with it, because when you have this list, like 2 teeth here are missing. I can do Bugs Bunny. For real, you can, because you have 4. I have 2 of these scissors. I don't know how the name is in English. This is beyond my German English. The names of teeth, my God. This is something, could be a potential weakness, because I have here 2 holes. I come from northern Bavaria. We speak with a very big twang. So Upper Franconian, a typical sentence I use is, you should thank God for anything, even for an Upper Franconian. When I say it in German with my dialect, Nadine Meisel, who's in the call here, she will laugh. Alex Long, hi everyone, first time Alex. Alex is a super humorous person, one of my best friends of the Toastmasters community, came to my carnival village, amazing guy, super, super humorous. We're just starting with a self-deprecating humorous pattern. Alex, poke fun at yourself. So is there any word here? Is there a potential weakness you have? This is an exercise. Potential weakness you have. Nadine, write it down. One word that others may see in you as a weakness. Job Vivas. I'm Catalan in prestigious. That's a recurrent joke stuff. Yeah, because, well, but you see, that's a problem. We are a club. Job is referring, he says, I'm Catalan in prestigious Toastmasters. That's my club, Prestigious Speakers Barcelona. That's a recurrent joke subject. Yes, but we use it to have fun with you guys from Catalonia. This is dangerous. Sometimes we go over the edge and we fall because we make fun of, which is not good. But if you make fun of yourself, you know, the only thing that does not exist on this planet, guys, you know what the only thing is that doesn't exist on this planet? That's a Catalan poking fun at himself. They don't have self-deprecating humor in their Catalan dictionary. Well, if you say a job, it's going to be very funny. Okay, beer bow. Juan Carlos, you have a beer bow. A beer belly is a beer belly. Then you could say in front of an audience, Juan Carlos, as you can see, 5,000 hectoliters of Estrella Damm went into my belly. Of course, it's combined with exaggeration, which will be another humorous pattern later on. If you say it, funny. I cry easily, Alba. I'm so, Alba, you could say, I'm so emotional, I make Julia Roberts during her Academy Awards ceremony look like a serious person. Again, it's a comparison with a hyperbole, exaggeration, but still it is also self-deprecating humor. You poke fun at yourself. Mostly these patterns are interlinked. We will see that throughout the session. Klatze, Bernhard Friesen. Hi, Bernhard. Bernhard Friesen, super. Yeah, Kojak. You could make fun with Kojak. Kojak is Ted Sullivan. That's some guy from the 70s, 80s, which is always tricky nowadays with Generation Z for sure. Millennials, who's Kojak? Yeah, you could say I comb my hair every morning carefully. You see, all this will always be a safe laugh. Making fun, poking fun at yourself, self-deprecating humor. I do plus feedback and I do plus feedback in my trainings. Everything you do well and everything you can do even better. Self-deprecating humor, poking fun at yourself, has always been on the left side. It's always positive. When you say you're bad in something, your ethos, your credibility, Aristotle's ethos, your credibility, your authority goes down. It will be on the plus side. Self-deprecating humor, Tally Savalas, exactly, Kojak, thank you, Juan Carlos, is always on the positive. Poke fun at yourself. Write down this list of potential weaknesses that you have. And then you're in the wonderland of self-deprecating humor. Give me another pattern of humor. What is another pattern of humor? I have several here, as every day. I have several patterns of humor. Betty, now lay down. You cannot go out now. Betty is the Labrador. Betty, no. Betty, this is about humor here. You never said a word. Today you speak up. Maybe she is a stand-up comedian dog. What is another pattern for humor? Give me another pattern. Accent, speaking with your own twang. Bernhard Friesen. Bernhard, where are you from? Where are you from, Bernhard? I hope you're not from Ostfriesland. Friesen. That was a bad joke. Misdirection. Let's go to the second pattern of humor. I call it say the unexpected, or you more call it misdirection. The names don't matter. Bernhard Friesen from Russia. Yeah. Saying the unexpected. So how does that work? This is the biggest pattern of humor in 99% of all jokes in the world. Spanish, French, Russian, Australian, Taiwanese, doesn't matter. What you do is, when you say the unexpected, you create an expectation. The audience expects it, but you deviate from it. And this in humor is, of course, the punchline. That's the punchline. My favorite one is from, I think I said it in another call already, but there will be redundancies. It's unavoidable. This is round number 16, imagine. I mean, Roger Dangerfield, when he said, me and my wife were happy for 20 years, and then we met. Oh. But I really like also, what Bernhard Friesen just did, he says speak with an accent, which is also pattern, because it makes you also very likable, especially when you're from Andalusia. You see job, Catalan accent, you would never use it. Well, you don't have, it's their own language. But you could use that as to make fun of yourself. Anyway, back to Bernhard. I say, so where are you from? And his name is Bernhard Friesen. More German, Austrian, or whatever it is impossible. And he said, Russia in the chat. Made me laugh. I like very much a classic of Groucho Marx from the Marx Brothers. I love it. It's intellectual. Groucho Marx was very intellectual. I think television is very educational. Every time it's on, I go to the other room and I read a book. What people do a lot, Job, back to your question here, this is Q&A, the weaknesses must be obvious for the audience, or you can reveal them. No, the moment you say it, they know that you are. This is the whole concept. Today, it's the day of Betty, my Labrador. It is so live. Mostly people do it normally. Say they don't deviate when they say something. For instance, they would say, I make it up now. You're from France, you live in Paris, and then you say, and then I moved, then I wanted to leave Paris, and I wanted to explore the big wide world, and I moved. No, wait, that was wrong. The other way around. You see, I make the same mistake. It's a mountain without a peak. Public speaking. Hello, you will never find it. No, they say, and then I really didn't make it far from Paris. I moved to Versailles. I just visited Versailles 3 weeks ago, so I'm safe, no virus yet. But I think I made it. Versailles. And what you have to say when you want to deviate from the expected is, and then I left Paris to explore the wide, wide world, Versailles. That's exactly how you have to do it. Alex Lam, Coburg. Yeah, exactly. But Paris Coburg would be the wide, wide world. Any other pattern? So we have already the poke fun at yourself. Write down a list of potential weaknesses that you have, and then this is the wonderland of self-deprecating humor. Oh, you will be so likable. It's the opposite of arrogance. Super cool. Always a safe laugh. And saying the unexpected works very well also with the classical triad. Maura, the other day you talked about triad. Of course, three men walk into a bar. In the world of Me Too, three women walk into a bar. I've never heard it yet. Can you invent a joke, please, with three women walk into a bar? Jeez, there must be more equilibrium here. Okay, three men, three women walk into the bar. The first, and then the one from your country makes the stupid thing. It could be Johnny or Jaimito or Fritzchen in Germany, but not necessarily. Fritzchen, Jaimito, and Johnny jokes work the same way. The first student does something, the second student does something, and then comes the punchline. It works also with very small things like Veni, Vidi, what the fuck? Or Liberté, Egalité, get a yellow vest. Is it vest or west? I think it's vest. So that is saying the unexpected. Another pattern of humor. Give me another pattern of humor. Patterns you can replicate. That's the beauty. Then you can write it yourself. When the audience does not laugh, it's not the fault of the audience, ever. It's always your fault. Hyperbole. Hyperbolic comparison. Hyperbole or hyperbole or with comparison, which is the hyperbolic simile, the comparison. Two things. Let's start with hyperbole. Give me a hyperbole, guys. While I'm explaining to you, write in this chat, write hyperboles, exaggerations. How does it work? I love to visualize these things. So this is reality, and then you inflate into reality. Don't make a screenshot now. You inflate a lot of air, and then it's humor. A star of hyperboles, Muhammad Ali. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. This would be the times right now we need Muhammad back, I tell you. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes in my trainings, people give speeches. They use hyperbole, an exaggeration of reality, and there's not meant to be humor, and people still laugh. Once someone said, do you know this situation? You leave your office, and the office down the hallway, 15 meters or 15 yards down the hallway, that's your boss's office. And you walk out your office, and on these 50 meters, you feel like the walls are squashing you. More or less like that, he said it. We laughed. It was not supposed to be humor, but because walls squashing you, exaggeration, hyperbole, we still laughed. Any other example for hyperbole? Hyperbole is great. Hyperbole is quite difficult, I found out, because you really have to give it a thought. The unexpected is quite simple. Mostly you turn it around. And then I studied the sexiest subject in the world, law. You see, that's easy. You don't say I studied the most boring thing, law. You just say the sexiest, law. Use your mimic with it. Use your mimic. Mimic, we will get there. Job, you're so en racha. For the non-Spaniards here, non-Catalans, estar en racha. He's really on the move. The other day, Juan, today, job. I was so big, it was easier to jump over me than to walk around me. You see? That's a good one. I was so big, it was easier to jump over me than to walk around me. That's a good one. And if it were you, which is not the case because you're slimmer than Lucky Luke, the cartoon character Lucky Luke, then it would be even. True story. Oh, it's true story. Okay. Wow. What happened to your buddy? Amazing. Any other hyperbole? Wow, it was 97 kg. You were 97. Okay, guys, in the call later when you watch it, Job looks like Lucky Luke, the cartoon character, and amazing. Guys, now you talked about hyperbole and comparison. Now this brings me right to my taxi driver. At the time of this session, we are all in quarantine in Spain. Juan, my taxi driver, my friend, we share so much time together. He's in Barcelona, small flat, wife, kid. We all here in Spain suffer quite a lot, like everyone here around. But Juan is always the joker. He is the joker. And he is so funny. And one day on a taxi ride, I was so fed up with his humor because he makes me laugh all the time. So I put it in a pattern. I realized this is a pattern. So what he does is the following. Listen to this. It's amazing. It works. Wait, I'm writing it down right now. So what he does all the time is this. More or less, a personal pronoun, he or she. He or she. Or you. You, he, she. That's all fine. Plus an auxiliary verb. You remember what auxiliary verbs are? Auxiliary. Have or be, a form of to have or to be. Then a comparative adjective. More, less, bigger, smaller, more tense. And then a hyperbolic, I call it hyperbolic simile, a comparison with exaggeration. Now, my friend Juan says stuff like this all the time. You are more tense than two blind men fighting on a rooftop. You're more tense than two blind men fighting on a rooftop. But you don't have to do that. You see it. One I invented, because now we all the time invent them all the time. You're more scared than a balloon in a cactus store. Or he is less spicy than a glass of fresh milk. It works with anything. You're more boring than the radio transmission of a chess game. It's so funny, and he has one after another. Juan is a joker. I have a visual tip on this in my new book, 102 Visual Tips, which I will not make advertising for because I never do advertising apart from Rhetoric, the public speaking game, because that's a great game to play right now at home. The app is downloadable. But the book, I will not even mention it, the 102 Visual Tips. One of them, I would have to tell you, is about Juan's pattern. It's amazing. You are more useless than a deaf spy. Okay, hyperbole combined with simile, with comparisons, more or like or bigger than. We have a lot already covered. We have that, we have exaggeration, we have saying the unexpected. Next time you see stand-up comedy, take a sheet of paper, make a list, and do cluck, 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 cluck. It's all pattern. You cannot sit there right now and laugh about Ellen DeGeneres. Analyze the humor. Analyze the humor and use it for yourself. Humor is positive energy. It's charismatic. It breaks the ice with people. It makes you likable. Has there ever been a bad laugh in your life that you encountered on your side? How many humorous lines can I introduce in a 7-minute speech? Alba, are you sure you're not German? I know you're Colombian, but there must be some German DNA, something. Have you ever done a DNA test, a blood test? Because every session you ask me these rules-based questions, which is cool. I'm German. I love rules-based questions. The golden rule of rhetoric of public speaking is there ain't no rule. Okay, Toastmasters here in the group, Toastmasters. Or those who are not yet, toastmasters.org, check it out. Public Speaking Club. Right now, all meetings online works very well. Tomorrow we have our club meeting. I will be an evaluator of a speech. Online works wonderful with Zoom and others, of course. We're not only going to say Zoom these days. Now, the international speech contest, the winners, for those of you who are not Toastmasters, in the end, you come to the finals. You start in a club, you go area, you go district. It's like military, and you end up on the top, and you fight against 10 rhetorical fighting against 10 maybe speakers. Those of you who are Toastmasters know it. Even if it's super, super, super emotional, the speech, with super emotional moments, it has to have a meaning. It is deep and meaningful and pathos and everything. The winning speeches have at least 10 big laughs. And this is just a rough guess. I always say in my trainings, business presentations, meetings now, online meetings, speeches when you have to present something. A 5-minute presentation, it's a rough number. There is no rule. 5, I would say at least 5 big laughs. 5. 7. But come on, that is not a rule. When you make them laugh, they love it. That's a fact. Okay, back to your questions. Nadim, how can we use humorous patterns and maintaining maximum authenticity? When you write out a speech, do you write out a speech? Do you write a sentence? When you write a sentence, you train and then you go and say, it was a cold day. That's authentic. And I definitely write out my humorous lines when I prepare a speech well. These lines, they must come sharp. You have to train the pauses. You have to train and rehearse. It's always going to be authentic because Nadine, you are Nadine. This authenticity thing all the time, I don't get it. When people laugh, do you think, oh, that was not authentic? Bullshit. They laugh. They love you. Is your club in English? More, yes. We can invite you tomorrow, 7:45 Central European Time. Alba, ich bin Deutscher. Ich bin Deutscher. Don't be so. I'm not going to talk about grammar here. Yes, you are now German officially. Another one. We have 5-6 minutes left. Another humorous pattern. We have self-deprecating humor already. We have saying the unexpected. We have hyperbole. Now, what about spontaneous? When you work the rooms, there are 2 big patterns. Do you know them? There are 2 big patterns. Spontaneous humor with the room and with your speech. What are your names for that? If you have names for that, always give stuff names. I tell you, names are great to give. He's the same person. I call it the fall of the alpha dog, and it's combined with one of them. Okay, I use the metaphor of tonight we have our session in English. You're welcome. Albana, thank you for using the chat to make all your invitations. I love you too. No, that's cool. This is, hey, there is no rule here. This is an apple tree. It's a pathetic apple tree. You see, when I say I cannot draw, my ethos goes down. Aristotle is not funny. If I say, if I were on coke, I could be Picasso. Now, that's absurd. Maybe it's humorous. People always think I take drugs. I've never taken any drug. 1 hash tea during my studies as an Erasmus exchange student. Can you imagine? My drug is called life. And wine and beer. And you. And public speaking. Oh, God. Okay, humor is also an apple tree. Every apple here on this tree is a laugh in your audience. Ha, 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 ha. That is an apple. Imagine now all the humorous patterns that we've talked so far. Self-deprecating humor is a seed you have to plant first to get it grow and get the laugh. We had hyperbole, that's a seed you have to plant to get a laugh. We had hyperbolic exaggeration combined with simile, comparison. That's a seed plant. All these are seeds. But then there are 2 apples on the tree you can use. They are there. You just have to take to pluck them, unplug, to pluck them. And one of them is what job you just said, tease the same person over and over again. It's not very nice, but it can work. The first one is a callback. Callback typically would be you say something, you're just in the moment. Maura, imagine Maura, you're just about to say the sound bite of your speech. And the Irish. And in that moment, somebody sneezes loudly. So the next time you would come to the moment when you want to say something important, you would stop and then say, can you sneeze again? Now is the moment to kill another line. Now that would be a callback. And this is combined with what you just said, to tease the same person. But callback, can something funny happen? Doesn't have to be a person. A helicopter flying back and forth all the time. Betty, my Labrador, before. I didn't really use it with humor, but it's still a bit humorous because it's a callback. You pick it up. It's a running gag. That's what a callback is, a running gag. And the other one, what's the other one? What's the other apple that's already there? You just have to pluck it. It's already there. That is the golden rule that you will never, ever disrespect. No, we're just with irony. Irony would be a seed I have to plant to get a laugh, Alba. Oh, today's good weather. This is something I say because I plan to say it. Because before the speech, I know already there's bad weather. I call it, there's different names. I call it call the room. Call the room. Call the room is something spontaneous happens. You must, it's a golden rule, you must make a reference to it. So when this person sneezes more, or when you just about Irish, thank you for killing my climax. There is no way you will not say that. We have to do it. Because if we do not do it, they disrupt us. There's always a disruption. There's always something that disrupts with our speech. It's disruptive. And if we don't make it, the flow is cut. And everybody knows there is now a disruption. But the moment you make references and you call it, and you call the room, in that moment, everyone in the room laughs. Don't ask me why. Sometimes I don't ask Alba for rules. If it works 100 times, there is a pattern. And the moment I have discovered a pattern in my 15 years of speaking, I reuse it. I comprobar in Spanish, I test it, and then it's a pattern I can always use, and it will always work. Humor is pattern. And this is for me the most important point here today. This is the message of the entire session here. Humor is pattern. When an audience does not laugh, it's not the audience's problem. To finish this session today, irony, Alba, is of course, irony is often combined with understatement. And understatement is something that mostly, in my experience, in my trainings, almost exclusively only two nationalities used. I don't want to go into nationality here. No. That's bad. Otherwise, we have in the nationality 4 other nationalities, and the 4 nationalities, we have 7 more nationalities. Ooh, nationalism. No, but it is understatement, and this is a tricky thing. It's mostly English, British humor, and Irish. More, I've had it in with Irish. Mostly, you guys are the great guys of understatement. It is when you turn the hyperbole around, when you make it smaller than reality. Have you seen Monty Python? The Holy Grail? The Black Knight? The 2 arms are gone? It's just a flesh wound. It's just a flesh wound. Oh, Maura, you're English. Maura, living in Cork, O'Brien, being English. Something went wrong in that family tree. Anyway, it's just a flash moon. This is understatement. And understatement is super cool. If I could still quote Kevin Spacey, which in the times of now I cannot. I mean, I cannot quote Kevin Spacey anymore. But Kevin Spacey, if you remember American Beauty, he won the Oscar. He goes up, and the first sentence was, "I guess that's the highlight of the day." And the room was roaring with laughter. This is understatement. Oh, your great grandfather emigrated. This is not understatement. This is family proud. You are the Mora. You are the symbol of union in this world. I love it. You've seen it, 35 minutes plus. You've seen it, humorous pattern. We've discussed exaggeration, hyperbole, saying the unexpected. People have to not expect it, then they laugh. That's the punchline, like in a joke. We've had self-deprecating humor. Look for weaknesses, potential weaknesses you have. Write it down. Work with it. We had bold head before. We had a beer belly. We had so many cool ideas. When you use it, people will always laugh. It's humorous pattern. And then we had call the room, call back. We had Juan, my taxi driver, who always combines simile comparison with exaggeration. We've had patterns of humor. So next time, when you see this in the future, next time you give a presentation, an online meeting, you speak, you communicate in a bar, in a break during an operatic performance, and people don't laugh, it's your fucking fault. But I can leave you with the F word. It's been a great pleasure to be here once again together with you. Tomorrow, thank you for your questions. Amazing. And see you more tomorrow in the meeting for sure. Tomorrow's session is a bit trickier. It is not so easy, and I have not an easy mind map here for this session. But tomorrow I want to investigate, to explore together with you a wonderful area which only the fewest speakers think about. Tomorrow's theme is imagination. I want us to play much more with the imagination of the audience than we do right now. Tomorrow's topic, imagination. Thanks to everyone. See you tomorrow. Hasta la vista. And more, see you tomorrow in our online Toastmasters meeting. Hasta la vista.